Have you ever gotten that feeling? You look at the news, the stock market's up, you hear the economy's doing great, but then you look around and think, wait a minute, where are all the jobs? If that disconnect feels familiar, trust me, you are not going crazy. Today we're going to break down this really strange moment that some people are calling the jobless boom.
So this is the big question, right? This is the paradox we're going to get to the bottom of. How is it possible that all the big signs are pointing up, telling us the economy is healthy, but the one thing that affects most of us, job creation, feels so sluggish? It doesn't seem like it should work that way, but believe me, it's what's happening right now.
All right, first things first, let's define what we're even talking about. A jobless boom is pretty much what it sounds like. You've got all the big picture stuff, the economy growing, companies making record profits, the stock market flying high, all looking fantastic. But the one piece that hits closest to home, actual job growth, it's either way behind or just completely stuck in neutral.
Okay, so to really get what's going on, we have to look past the headlines and get into the actual data. Let's break this whole paradox down piece by piece and see what the numbers are really telling us. First up, let's look at the overall economy, the GDP. In 2025, it's on track to grow by a little over 2%. Now, to put that in perspective, that's not just some average number. That's actually a better growth rate than we've seen historically. So check 1 in the booming column. Things look pretty good here.
All right, now for the stock market. In that same period, it's grown by a massive 16%. Again, that's way, way higher than the average. So now we've got 2 for 2. The broader economy and the stock market are both on fire. The picture that's being painted is of a really strong, prosperous economy.
But this is where the record scratches. This is where the story completely changes. Despite those incredible numbers, job growth is the weakest it's been since 2003, and that's not even counting recessions. We're talking about more than 2 decades ago. All that amazing economic growth, it's just not turning into new jobs. And this slide right here really shows you how much things have changed. It used to be that for every 1% our economy grew, you could expect about 150,000 new jobs. Simple. But today, to get that same number of jobs, our economy has to grow by 3%. Think about that. Our economic engine needs 3 times as much fuel just to produce the exact same result. So the big question is, why? What is causing this huge shift? Well, that brings us to our next section, and the answer really boils down to the rise of the 2 A's.
And here they are. You probably guessed it. Automation, and of course, artificial intelligence. And look, these are not just some Silicon Valley buzzwords anymore. These 2 forces are fundamentally reshaping how businesses think, how they spend their money, and who they hire.
You see, companies are changing their whole playbook. In the past, growth meant expansion, more offices, more factories, and hiring more people. Now, the focus is on optimization. They're pouring money into technology to make the people they already have way more productive, to make it so one person can do the work that 5 people used to do.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Today's AI is still kind of clunky, it's not smart enough to take over the world, and you're right. But this quote from our source material absolutely nails it. AI right now is like a toddler learning to walk. It stumbles, it falls down, but it is learning at an incredible speed, and we are at the very, very beginning of this whole thing.
And this isn't just a theory. This is happening for real. The author of the source material saw the writing on the wall with his own media company. He realized that in just a few years, AI would probably be able to do everything his business did. So what did he do? He made a hard pivot, turned the company into a fintech firm to stay ahead of the curve. It's a perfect example of adapt or get left behind.
So when you zoom out, this massive shift in technology is putting all of us as a society at a huge fork in the road. And where we go from here could lead to 2 completely different futures for the idea of work itself.
So one path is the future that people like Elon Musk talk about. It's a world where work basically becomes optional. Yeah, seriously. The idea is that in a couple of decades, AI and robots will be doing so much that humans just won't need to work to survive. Work would be something you do for fun, like a hobby.
So that's one side of the fork in the road. Sounds pretty good, right? But the other path is a lot less utopian. It's a future where this tech shift leads to millions and millions of people losing their jobs. And in that scenario, the conversation quickly turns to things like universal basic income, or UBI, where the government might have to step in and provide a safety net because there just isn't enough work to go around.
Look, nobody knows which of those futures is actually going to happen. But the change, that's happening right now, today. So let's bring it back from the big picture and talk about practical takeaways. This is your survival guide for the AI era, how you can make sure you come out on top. We're going to break this down into a playbook with real advice tailored for 3 different groups: for employees, for entrepreneurs, and for investors. Okay, if you're an employee, your number one mission is to become irreplaceable. How do you do that? First, you need to start using AI tools now to get better and faster at your job. Literally, go to an AI tool, describe your role, and ask it how you can improve. Second, you have to know exactly how your job makes the company money. The closer you can tie your work directly to revenue, the more valuable you become.
Now, for all the entrepreneurs out there, this shift is an absolute gold rush. Yeah, you can use AI to make your own business run better, but the even bigger opportunity might be to build a business that helps other companies figure all this stuff out. You don't have to build the next groundbreaking AI model. You can make a fortune just by helping people use the tools that are already here.
And finally, for the investors, listen up because the game has changed. A year ago, a company just had to say the letters A and I, and its stock would go to the moon. Those days are over. Smart investors are now asking a much tougher question. Okay, great story, but how are you actually going to make money? The new strategy isn't about chasing hype anymore. It's about finding the picks and shovels of this AI revolution.
This is exactly what that picks and shovels idea means. During the California gold rush, who made the most consistent money? It wasn't the miners. It was the guys selling them the picks, the shovels, and the jeans. The same logic applies to AI. The really solid investments might not be in the flashiest AI company, but in the essential infrastructure they all need. We're talking about the semiconductors, the brains of AI, the data centers, the homes for AI, and the power and cooling systems, the fuel that makes this whole revolution run.
So, we'll end with this. AI is no longer science fiction. It's not coming, it's here, and it is fundamentally changing our economy from the inside out. You can love it or you can hate it, but you can't ignore it. So the only real choice you have to make is this. Are you going to learn how to use this incredible new tool as your partner, or are you going to stand by and let it become your replacement?